Hi, and welcome back to Wicked Wands Tarot. My name is Carmen, and today we've got a reading for you about a healing process that I think has taken place over several months, maybe even several years for some of you. It does not have to be a romantic connection, but I would say that there's at some point been a physical distance between the two of you. It does say physical or emotional distance, but I kept being drawn to the fact that these two, like, they're not touching. So again, it doesn't have to be romantic, but this is somebody that you have had a very strong emotional bond with, but there was some problem here, probably because there was physical distance or there were just consistent issues that weren't addressed. But we've got the better now card, which means we're looking at those things that caused the tension and we're addressing them, trying to make sure that this relationship is in a better spot than it was before. So let's call in spirit with a little bit of wind chime sound. I hope you're having a good day. Hello, Key Controller. Hello, Holy Yoga. Hello, Upper Echelon. How we doing? All right, we're gonna dive in with. We're gonna start with the Tattoo Tarot. What else do we have? Oh, if you're interested in a personal reading, my email address is wickedwandstarot@gmail.com. And if you are interested, I do offer monthly readings with the highest tier of my memberships. But I have 3 of them, so you can choose which one. Or if you like the free stuff, that's cool with me too. Hello, how's it going, Upper Echelon? Hello, Richard. Hello, Michael. Hello, Tiana. What's up, dude? We staying out of trouble? Knight of Swords in the reverse and the Queen of Swords. And 5 of Swords in the reverse. Yeah, this is somebody who has in the past spoken impulsively or without really thinking too much, and it caused some problems. It caused some drama. They needed to take a little bit of a breather, maybe sleep on it, and think about things from a different perspective. Now, that sleeping on it part might have actually been more of like a couple of months or a couple of years, but this Queen of Swords is the person you're dealing with. And they're now at the point where it's, okay, let's make this right. What can I do to apologize or demonstrate that I'm not going to do that same thing anymore? Hey, what's up, Hope? How are you doing? Dude, I'm doing great. Thank you. What else do we have? See, I found some apple pie at the grocery store, which it's not strawberry rhubarb, but it's still pretty good. So we've got the High Priestess and the Lovers. Queen of Pentacles. So I take the High Priestess energy as the type of connection between the two of you. Now, what I mean to say is there's something kind of strange or unusual. The way I'm seeing it in my mind right now is I had some friends on my volleyball team in high school who were twin sisters. And I loved them. They looked just alike, but they had such distinct personalities. And they would talk about how they participated in the University of Minnesota's study on twins, which I think is pretty awesome. And obviously one of the things is, those strange occurrences that happen for twins that, maybe they have like a psychic connection. That's what I'm seeing this as. There's something between this Queen of Swords and this Queen of Pentacles. Don't get too caught up on the genders. This could be anyone. That is like a different frequency on the radio. And you both have that frequency. You get it. So this could mean like sisters who are really close, like my example, or a love connection where even though you may not be the same person, you understand each other even when you can't vocalize what you're thinking. You can communicate with, a glance, just like these snakes looking at each other. But the Queen of Swords is facing the other direction. The Queen of Pentacles is focused on stability. There's been some time that has passed with very little or no contact, but there still remains this cord, this sense of, I still feel connected to you, even though we haven't been speaking, even though we have been arguing. Temperance in the reverse. The Moon. And the Sun. Yeah, I don't think you've heard much. You might not know what's been going on for this Queen of Swords, but I do feel like it has been a rough ride. I think this Queen of Swords has not been keeping many people informed in terms of what they've been going through or how they've been coping. But this is like they're coming up for air. They've been dealing with a lot. They've been processing a lot. They've been making changes. But I feel like most people don't have much of an idea of what they've been up to, and they might want to make you the first person who hears it from them. I think they're going to be pursuing a conversation with you to talk through what happened in the past and also what they've been working on, what they've been up to, how they've changed. What else do we have? Nine of Swords in the reverse. Three of Cups. And the Knight of Cups. Interesting. Knight of Cups is like in almost the same position as the Queen of Pentacles in terms of looking at something that's right in front of them, right? Yeah, I think you've been very focused on a project or a goal. Some of you may be doing a home remodeling project. Some of you may be writing a book, working on a really big project for work. Maybe this is your taxes, but I feel like you've been focused and you're not super worried about this connection, or if this is romantic, about like dating and finding somebody new. And it's kind of looking like you weren't super stressed about it. You know that there's this connection with this person. You know that things aren't really great right now, but I think you have faith. If it's supposed to get back together or resolve itself, or, if we're supposed to be able to talk through this, then we will. But with that cup there in front of his face, it's just a blank space, right? Which is meant to express that this is not a definite thing that's going to happen, right? This is a weird way to explain it, but when I was learning Spanish, I remember having to learn, oh crap, I don't even know what it's called. Is it pluperfect? It's the tense where you take the normal way you conjugate and you change the last letter. So like, que tengas buen día, right? You're expressing that there's a little bit of doubt there, and therefore it's like a wish, right? So they conjugate it differently. This is like, well, I don't really know if it's going to work out. I don't know if we're going to be able to climb that mountain, bury that hatchet, or I don't know. I don't have a third one, you guys. I'm sorry. Stop being mad at each other. Okay, you're invited to my birthday party again. Hello, Voyager. What's up? I like it. So we've got this Ace of Swords. Death. And the Page of Pentacles in the reverse. I know what happened. I know why we're in this situation. Maybe initially I tried to blame you. Maybe I tried to say it was this Queen of Pentacles fault. And then it dawned on me. Am I the villain? Am I the problem? Did I do that? Yes, you did. This Queen of Swords, whoever this is, friend, ex, whatever, they're like, oh, now that I've had just like a little bit of time to think about it and the smoke is cleared, I realized that maybe I was wrong about something. There might have been actually some sort of detail that was not common knowledge that now they're like, oh, oops. But there's something here that has changed. And it's motivating this Queen of Swords and has been motivating them to do things differently because they understand now that things went wrong because they were refusing to understand your perspective. They can't just expect that like the world revolves around their butt. You know, it just doesn't. Why, thank you. I do try. I think my favorite one to impersonate is the Dr. Cox quote from Scrubs. Wrong, 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 wrong. Wrong, 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 wrong. You're wrong. It's just so much fun. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. Hello, Laura. How's it going? We've got the Four of Wands in the reverse. Instability. Queen of Swords. High Priestess in the reverse. Yeah, I think this Queen of Swords is realizing that the instability or the disruption to what was otherwise, I think, a really sweet connection. It has to do with how they perceive. I'm going to go with actually, I think it's because of their expectations. It's a real good idea just every once in a while, I don't know, every 6 months, 3 months, to just kind of check yourself. Are my expectations unreasonable? Hold on, I got to check my table. It's like, there we go. Are my expectations unreasonable? Am I like a jerk? Am I being a little bit like unwilling to understand what's important to somebody else? I feel like these are the questions that the Queen of Swords has been asking themselves. And even though they wanted to like blame you, they're starting to understand that that was perhaps a little bit of an immature tendency that they need to like dispense with. They're realizing now that what they want is to talk to you again. Hierophant. Nine of Pentacles in the reverse. And the Wheel of Fortune. I think they got a little bit of a talking to. I think somebody that the Queen of Swords respects, maybe the person they respect the most, sat them down, and it might have been talking about a completely different situation. But it applies, right? It's, oh, maybe I'm like missing out on something that's fabulous because I keep feeling like they should, do this different or they should be that, I don't know what this, it's like there's a hair on my face, you guys. I'm sorry. They've changed. So yeah, I didn't want to admit that I could have done things differently, that I could have been more respectful towards you. I wanted to point to something and say, see, you did that. Oh my God, you guys, what is this? I think it's maybe like from a brush, like a makeup brush. Okay, sorry. Accountability is something that they have met while you have not been speaking, and they are now besties with accountability. Sunshine and lollipops. Five of Cups. The Fool. Another Five of Swords in the reverse. This person's genuine. They want to make amends. They want this to be okay again. They feel remorseful. They feel like they should have known better, but they're hopeful that there is an opportunity for the two of you to be able to, like start over, repair this, I agree, Voyager. It was definitely a common thing when I had two cats. I mean, it was weird. Let's go with, this is the situations deck. What else do we have? No worries. It could be worse. What else? Oh, May. Not another one. Okay. I think that this is, for the majority of you, coming through as a family or a friendship connection. But there is, for a significant portion of you, I kind of want to say like maybe 40% of you, there is a romantic background between the two of you. We have this desire card, which talks about lust and sexual chemistry. And I feel like that's the problem. So I feel like the problem here is either the Queen of Swords was not being respectful or was maybe expecting too much of the Queen of Pentacles because they were in a relationship that was a bad influence. So sometimes there are, squabbles that happen because you were my best friend, then you got into a relationship and now you only see me like once every 2 weeks. We used to hang out every day. What's up with that? But for others of you, I think it's more serious. For others of you, this could be like a stepmom or a stepfather situation where it was really difficult to coexist. And the parent who got married or was in that relationship chose the relationship, the romantic one, over the family relationship, which is probably a child. There's this complication of, I feel like, this sexual energy that took precedence or was prioritized over either the emotional side of your relationship with this person, or your friendship or relationship with the Queen of Swords was compromised because of their sexual relationship with somebody else. Does that make sense? Sex is the problem. But we've got completion, lesson learned. So I do think the Queen of Swords has changed this approach. For many of you, this is, I can't prioritize the little relationships that I have, especially if they're not serious, and risk the important ones like, family or close friends, because it's just not worth it, not in the long run. Yes, I agree. Oh, you're welcome. Hello, Aqua Beauty. How are you doing, hon? So we've got magnetic in the reverse and nightlife, gamble, take a risk, Vegas. Yeah, I think we've got this Queen of Swords for the majority of you. They are letting go of a connection that was more based on lust than love, and seeking to repair the relationships with friends or family that suffered as a result of that toxic connection. We did have the Nine of Pentacles in the reverse, so I do think it was a toxic codependent relationship that was the problem with this Queen of Pentacles. So I think the Queen of Swords is going to be like, yo, I kind of lost my mind for a little bit there because I was in a relationship with somebody that I didn't want to admit was toxic. But now that I've been able to realize that I really don't need that energy in my life, now that I realize that maybe that wasn't really worth the risk, now I want to see if you would, potentially accept my apology. For those of you where this is an ex, this is somebody saying, you know what? I was really afraid of falling in love. I didn't want to feel those emotions. I didn't want the expectations that came with those emotions. So I really just wanted to keep you as a sexual person. I just wanted to keep you as a friends with benefits. That had to change, obviously, for the relationship to move forward. We've got poison, toxic, unhealthy behaviors or people. We were just talking about a toxic, codependent relationship, but the Queen of Swords has cut them off. Bye-bye. See you never. Yeah, good call. I agree, dude. Hello, Justin. How are you doing? So we've got wish in the reverse and entrapment. There was something that caused an argument. I think for the majority of you, this is the relationship that the Queen of Swords has ended. But this could also be how you felt about the argument that, as the Queen of Pentacles, you had with the Queen of Swords. But there's a sense that money had a lot to do with what decisions were made. I had to stay on this person's good side because they were the only reason I could afford groceries. I had to, be with this person because I owed them money. But I think over time, we've got this Queen of Swords acknowledging that maybe they relied a little bit too heavily on what those, like, I can't or that's too difficult excuses were. I don't intend to insult anyone by referring to them as excuses. I think that's how the Queen of Swords looks at it now. This is the Bianco Nero. What else do we have? Five of Cups in the reverse. Six of Wands in the reverse. And the Ten of Pentacles. This was not easy for the Queen of Swords to look within and admit that they had caused this problem or that they had focused on the wrong thing. They do feel like a bit of a failure, to be honest. And it's seeming like they're thinking about the long term now. Instead of the short-term gratification, they're thinking, man, I really was short-sighted. I was focused on something that was fun and exciting, but I did so at the risk of losing someone that is really important to me. Someone that is like family, I hope so, Brashla. Hello, Robert. It is live. How are you doing today? Ooh. Well, this one isn't. I would think that's birch. That's a very good question, Justin. I'm going to go with, for a short answer, external validation. Five of Pentacles in the reverse. Another five in the reverse, and it's clarifying the Five of Cups. So they're coming back around. They're expressing genuine remorse, saying, I wish I hadn't treated you this way. I wish I'd been honest with myself about what my real priorities should have been or about how I really felt. I was lying to myself or, not willing to be honest with you about what was really going on or what my motivations were. I do think you're going to hear something about some financial struggle that maybe you weren't fully aware of. Somebody might have been about to lose a house. Somebody might have been dealing with a lot of credit card debt, medical debt. But they're going to be more honest and direct with you about what actually happened, why things ended the way that they did. Nine of Pentacles in the reverse, Three of Pentacles in the reverse, and the Queen of Pentacles. They're also going to tell you that what is most important to them now is you. That what is most important to them now is legitimate, not just, hey, I think this person's really attractive. They have cut off this person that was the block. And that's a pretty solid way to know that, yes, I think this person has changed. I think they do have a different perspective, and they understand that actions need to follow that change in perspective because they've already cut this person off. Six of Pentacles and another five, the Five of Wands. For some of you, they found it difficult to cut off this person because they were feeling guilty about kicking someone out that maybe didn't have a job. I do think there was some sort of charity here, as far as like somebody taking care of another person and maybe feeling like they couldn't really voice things the way they wanted to. But then there was this major argument that happened, and I feel like it really laid bare for the Queen of Swords what their priorities really were. And it could have been something like, you're going to have to choose. Do you want to be in your kid's life, or do you want to be married to me? You're going to have to choose. Are you going to be emotionally available or only focus on surface level? This is kind of looking like an ultimatum, but it's a bit sharp-tongued. It's like bitter. And I feel like this is what sets the Queen of Swords off to say, why am I even doing this? Like, you're not my priority. Why did I let myself think that I should make all of these sacrifices to like keep you around? Hello, Grant. How are you doing? This is the Meme Cat Major Arcana. What else do we have? The Hierophant. And the Star. Look at how cute they are. Yeah. I think this is somebody who has had a pretty rough argument or pretty difficult realization. I've been prioritizing the wrong thing. I've made a horrible mistake. I tried to make it seem like somebody was being unreasonable to me, but really I was the one who was messing up. I need to change this. I think for some of you, this is somebody that has a different religious affiliation, or they've become more spiritual. Maybe they've become healthier in terms of the decisions they make, nutrition, or like just behavior wise. This is somebody who's made some interesting, healthy choices over the last several weeks. And in part, it's because they know they need to do that before it's too late. Yeah, they're moving quickly with the Chariot. All right, this is the Tarot Familiars. What else do we have? Ace of Pentacles. Hanged Man. And the Empress. There's this opportunity that the Queen of Swords seized. They could have stayed and, gone about their business in the same way they always did, but they chose to change. They chose to see things differently. It's very like Ghosts of Christmas Past, right? Okay, now that I've seen it all laid out before me, now that it's like, right, I don't know, I can't really dispute it. I'm going to have to change. This is a logical person who got a little caught up or was a little off, right? But they're willing to admit that they were wrong. They're willing to change their behavior, and that's why they're leveling up. This is, for many of you, a sign of them being a parent. Five of Cups in the reverse again. The Moon and the Five of Swords. Five is definitely the number here. And you know what's great about that? The thumbnail says, have they really changed? And five is all about change. So, I mean, hands down, it seems like, yes, this person has really changed. They understand now that they were Motivated by the wrong things. And that's why they ended up feeling like things got sabotaged. And a 5 of Pentacles. Okay, so what have I pulled? 8 cards, and I have 3 5s. That's wild. 9 of Cups and a 5 of Pentacles. Maybe if I cut somebody off that is not a very good influence in my life, things will get better. And that's what the Queen of Swords did. They ended this relationship, or they let go of this perception that had prevented them from this emotional connection they have with you. 3 of Cups, reunion, 9 of Swords. They're a little bit nervous about this. I think they're bringing you a gift. 10 of Wands. And the idea is, even if you don't want to reconnect with me, even if you don't think there's any chance that, I've changed and we can make this work, I still feel like you should keep this gift. I don't think there's any bad intentions. I think it's 100% good intention, because they do actually want to make you realize that they feel bad about this, or that they have accepted responsibility. What else do we have? Traffic cone, caution, number 32. Unlimited potential, infinity. See, I feel like that's the emotional bond between the two of you. For those of you who are maybe like looking into past lives, this is somebody that you have experienced more than one life with. That's part of the reason why there's such a, like, you can't erase that connection. The Queen of Swords realized they had this opportunity, right? There was like a slowdown, and they thought about what they were choosing for themselves by, prioritizing the wrong things, and realized I could accomplish so much more if I wasn't distracted by this. So I think this is maturity, right? We've got fun, flamingo, number 2, and cowrie shell, abundance. Excellent. Yeah, this Queen of Swords has put in the work. They have healed. They have accepted. They could have handled things better. They're going to apologize in a genuine fashion. And for many of you, they're going to bring a gift. They want to approach this in a way that is like appropriate. They want to express things to you in a mature way and respect you. But I also feel like they've got abundance in terms of financial stability coming their way. For some of you, that's as simple as they are no longer in a codependent relationship. But for others of you, they're able to leverage their own energy in a way that is really impactful as far as what they're able to accomplish, because they're not, spending all of this time with somebody that is just somebody that they really like in a physical sense. This is the voyage of the soul. What else do we have? Journey, road, planes, distance, movement, relocation, and visits. I told you, I think there's physical distance between the two of you. Now this person is trying to find a way to visit you. Guides, receive, clarity, open mind, open, and crown chakra. So this is changing because they have a different perspective, because they realize it's time to admit the role they played, and they want to demonstrate that they've made changes as a result. I love this. Now we have the Joy card, and we have Justice, decisions, fairness, review, laws, consequences, and serotonin, rush, happiness, excitement, and euphoria. I think for many of you, you're going to be excited because this person's demonstrating they finally get it. They finally understand why you've been frustrated or hoping for them to see things differently, and they look happier than they've ever been. So if this is a love interest, you're going to feel attracted to them where you have previously, I think, kind of gotten over it because they were caught up in this, or they looked at things weird in terms of what connection you had. But for those of you where this is like a friend or a family connection, it's meaningful to you because you can't teach somebody how to feel about this connection, right? They have to make that decision on their own. And you got frustrated trying to explain this, but now they get it. Now it's like they've got it memorized, what you were trying to teach them all along. So it feels like vindication. It feels like validation. You do value me in your life. You do understand why it's important that, you know, we communicate about these things or that you're respectful about that. So I think this is a really positive step forward for this connection, whatever, you know, type of connection it is. We've got somebody who's really changed and they want to do right by you. And I hope you like the gift. All right. I love you all. Have a great rest of your day. Thank you for the likes and the subscribes, and I'll see you on the next reading. Doodles.